Hey guys, so Craig here again. First part of the build log to the the jackal. So I've just covered the first 4 stages. So this is what we're gonna try and end up building right now. So this is one of the suspension setups for the jackal one. The first impressions of this, and now it's all together. It's actually got quite an intricate amount of detail considering the scale of it being 148. It's pretty accurate to be perfectly fair. So this piece here that I'm holding up for you at the minute, what this is basically comprises of is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 separate parts, which is everything that's on the desk there. So all of that creates this. So to put that together then, you need this part here, which is part 6C, and then you need the 2 side plates which have the airbags on. And sticking this together is pretty simple. Basically all you're doing is just gluing down the sides on the bottom along that side there, drop it again. Make sure you get the airbags up the right way. The airbags go to the top, which is this round piece in the middle. Stick it on. Same on the other side. Something to note with this being the new airfix sort of like product, it's that soft or super soft plastic. So when you're cutting this stuff off of the sprues, because of its size, just be very, very careful. Particularly when you're cutting these pieces off, because of the size of them, that is literally size of a fingernail. There you go, size of a fingernail. It's quite easy for you to chop the wrong bits off, and because it's super soft, it wouldn't take a great deal to snap that. So next thing then, we need to glue this hole here, and then these 2 little brackets on here. Okay, so we need to do a little drop of glue on there, a little drop of glue on there, little drop of glue on there, and on there. You need to get these parts, and it only goes on one way, you can't get it wrong. So you stick that piece into there as you do. Exactly the same for the other side. So we'll just do a little bit of glue on there, a little bit of glue on there. Then what we need then is to do the same on this side. So again, it only goes on one way. Make sure that you get these seated properly, because I don't know if you just saw that, but it's quite easy to fall through the gap. And at this point, I'm not sure if that's weight bearing or not. So that's basically the shock absorbers put on. The next piece that you need then is you need the wheel assemblies, which are these pieces here, which are parts 7B. So we need to glue the airbag hole, which is there, the hole underneath it, down there, and then right on the end, the little ball joint hole. These only go on one way. You kind of put it on at an angle, flick it down, and it locks into place. Just make sure you get the little pin at the bottom into the ball joint hole, just like that. Okay, so let's just try and show you that again. They go on that way. Place it in at the top, then you just slot it down and in. Okay, so we'll glue this side then, in there, and on there. We'll glue that onto there, get it locked in, done. So that's this part done. So all we've got left then, we've got 2 more holes, which is here, here. You've got a little pin on the top, which is a top ball joint. And then the only two pieces that we have left are the upper wish bars, torsion, the upper suspension arms is what I was looking for. A little bit fiddly, but again, you can't really get it wrong because it's the only two holes left. Make sure you get the pieces all located in and that it sits on the ball joint. What I mean by the ball joint is this pin here and that pin just down here. So we've got one left to do, so let's turn that around and let's just put a double glue in there, double glue in there, double glue on that ball joint, and then we'll do the same again, line it up into the holes. There you go. So that is the second wheel assembly done. And again, it's identical to the front. The instructions tell you to make two, so I thought I'd make one first and show you how I built the second one. So that stuff can dry now. So that's the two wheel assemblies. So that is literally steps 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we'll move on to 5 now, which is adding the wheels and the hubs to the wheel assemblies, and then 6 is adding it to the belly plate, and that's the first page complete. So the first things that we need then, we need 14B and 9B. So you've only got 4 wheels, so there's only 4 wheels on the actual sprues, so you can't get that wrong. Something to note with these tyres, it's got the wrong tread pattern on them. Let's just quickly clean that up where we've just chopped them off. Yeah, it's got the old Bedford 4-tonner tread pattern on it. That's not the tread pattern these things have. They come with super grippy, blocky Michelin wheels. I think this was just purely down to quickness and scale as to why the tread pattern's not particularly correct on these tyres. I suppose that's the problem when you've got experience with some of these vehicles and you start building replica models of them and it don't meet expectations because you know it's not right. So for a scale modeler wanting an accurate representation of a vehicle that they've gone and spent money for, you expect it to be right, don't you? Well, unfortunately, airfix, not in this case. But bless her, the wife didn't know. The most accurate kit I've seen of this particular vehicle is the Accurate Armour one, which is the only other one that I know that's on the market, and they have done their research properly. And you not like airfix, you get the Coyote as well, which is the 6-wheeled variant, which is the supply vehicle for these jackals, as it's one of the very few vehicles in the British Army that can actually keep pace and go where a jackal goes. Is the 6-wheeled version of this, because its capabilities off-road are absolutely phenomenal. There's not much out there wheeled that will follow a jackal or a coyote. So anyway, onto the wheels then. It's got a lug on the inside of the tyre. It's got a lug on the actual hub, so you can only get this in one way. So let's get the glue in there. Bit around there, a little bit of glue around there. And then it's just getting the wheel lined up with that lug. Now that's interesting, because it sits proud, it doesn't actually fit. Just give us a second, guys, I'm just trying to get this out. Could that be because I've got it the wrong way around? Yeah, it's because it was the wrong way around. Okay, so we've got the we've got the wheel in and it does sit flush. So that's number 1 done. Another 3 to go. So I'm sure you don't need to be told 3 times how to do a wheel, but there you go. You just got to spin it that little bit for that inner to fit properly. One more to go after this. Yeah, right, I've got a method now because that went straight on. So yeah, a little bit of history on Jackal. The way it come around was the vehicle used to be called Manacity, and British Special Forces were using that quite considerably and trialling it before it became a general service vehicle. And basically the Manacity is very similar to this vehicle, however the difference being it's totally stripped down. There's no ballistic plates, there's nothing. It's just an open cab with not a lot going for it in protection mount wise. But when you're fully armed with Special Forces soldiers, I think that's more of the danger than having a ballistic door on or not. Okay, so these, I don't know if you can see it, it's like a half moon sort of like key that's on the hub. So the tyres and wheels only fit on one way. You'll know when you got it right because it will lock in. If it doesn't lock in, you've got it on wrong. Right. So the problem with a design like this is getting the bloody thing straight. Getting it so it actually sits properly and not have a wheel up or a wheel down or whatever. So again, we've only got 2 more wheels to go, and that is the first page of this build done. So a little bit of glue on the top there. Right, so we now have 2 completed wheel assemblies in 48 scale. So that is pretty much all of 5 done. It's just adding the wheels to the wheel assembly. Part 6 is adding the front wheel station to the belly plate. So that is part 23A. So 23A is on here. So we'll cut 23A off very carefully because it's that super soft plastic. So that's 23A. Not entirely sure what all these little holes are supposed to be underneath the belly plate because that's not there on the real vehicle. The only thing you get under there is maybe the odd 1 or 2 drain plugs, so if you go wading that the water comes out of the belly plate, but certainly not all this, because if you had all these holes in there it would defeat the purpose of having a belly plate, because the explosion, because it's a V-shaped hole, if you were to hit an IED or an explosion and you had all these holes all over the place, the explosion is going to go through the hole. Defeats the purpose of having a belly plate. So I'm not quite sure what Airfix is trying to simulate that. Now we need to get the airbags up. Right. It fits snugly. You can't get that wrong. You've got a recessed part on one side. You've got a recessed part on one side and open on the other. So the recessed part sits on the piece here. So we'll get some glue onto that. Put some glue down there, put some glue down there, put some glue down there, put some glue down there. And that is a super snug fit. it's actually quite a nice fit, perfectly honest. That's my first compliment to the kit so far. Other than the detail that they've actually put onto the wheel assemblies. So there you go. That is the first page complete. Okay, so that's what you'll end up with at the end of page 1. So page 2 then is fitting 26A to that. So we'll do 25 minutes. We're only on 15 so far, because at 25 minutes it'll start a new video. So we'll do 25 minutes and then we'll call it quits for this part, because I'll usually forget, and then it will come in 2 parts to a video, and it's a ball ache for me to put together. Right. Anyway, let's just clean that up and make that a little bit smoother. Right, so looking at this then, it wants you to go that way with the wheels facing the back. So it's asking you to put that onto there, and it fits very well. That fits actually quite snug. It actually fits all the locating points, all of these bits here, pretty well. And it sits on the outside of those locating points. So let's get that glued in. Okay, so we put some glue on there, put some glue around there, put some glue around there, and some glue around there, some glue around there, some glue around there, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit across there, a little bit across there. Right. So, alright. Let's just make sure that all marries up nicely and it's equal spacing and gaps. Right. So that's us. That is step 7 done. Okay. So yeah, there we go. That's the arse end of the jackal. Is it? No, it's not. It's the front end of the jackal. So step 8 then is part 20A and 19A. So 20A is this piece. And this piece. And so there's 20. And it wants 19 as well. So 19. 19, and again you got to be very careful at this scale not to chop off or snap these little rollover bars. So what we're trying to do here is just trim the ROPs and trim off this excess gash that's just come off of the sprue. So there we go, that's one done. Okay, we've got a little bit of flash there from the sprue. I don't know if you can see how easy that's being sliced off there, so just be careful. Right, that's us trimmed, so that's 19 and 20. So these go together apparently. How do they go together? Nah, that doesn't go on there like that, surely. It looks as though it does. It looks as though it goes together at a funny angle like that, which it would do. So let's put some glue on there. some glue on the surrounding edges. Okay. There is a little locating bit in the middle there, so that slots into the position, and then that gets nipped up. As so. So what you end up with is that for the middle part of the central ROPS, and that's that piece done. So what it's asking for now is part 13B and 12B, which is the air filter. So that's sprue A, that's sprue C, sprue B must be that one then. So we want 13B and 12B, which is down here. And put that together. We'll put that together. Oops, my bad. And a little bit of cleanup on aisle 4. Right, so that's one. That's that. So this is only going to go on one way. So there's no point in test fitting that. There you go. So that's the two pieces together. And that is the air filter that sits on the inside of the ROPS. Oh, my bad. It's asking for this part to go on there. Right. So that's basically going to fill in that gap, so you're going to get like that triangle shape going down the cab. It only fits on one way. If you put it on the other way, you can't get it too far back because it's locking off on those panels there where my thumb is. So we'll get some glue onto that then. We'll get some glue going down here, some glue going down there, some glue going down there. So what we're going to get then is that sitting onto there like that. Right, the correct way around is you've got a mesh here and some switches up here. What that is actually for, those switches, is the battery management system and the relay box. Right. I don't know if you can see on the inside there is some detail, some little rivets right in the corner going up here. Just obviously be careful with this piece going in. Because to me that looks as though that should sit like that. And that should be raised a little tiny bit. Right, what I'm getting at on here is there's like a little step just here. There's just a little step here, and that's sitting flush there, but it's leaving this gap going around. So I'm just trying to get that gap even all the way around. So you end up with something like that. Okay. And that should be alright, and everything seems to be fitting okay to that point. So the air filter then, where is it? It's saying that this part with the holes in it goes to the rear of the vehicle, and it sits on this little location point here, which is true to the real vehicle. However, depending on the vehicle type, depends on the type of air filter. Now if you look at that, it's sitting at an angle, And then on the inside, the other side of the air filter, there's actually a hole that this sits into. So that's only going to fit one way. You'll instantly get the angle as soon as you put it on. On the Jackal 1, these are a round cylindrical air filter. This that's on here is more reminiscent to the Jackal 2. So again, depending on what variant you are actually building, is how accurate this actually is. So what have we got here then? So we've got part 12A. So A is not that one, not that one. 12A is there. Now the Pioneer tools on this variant are sitting on the inside of the vehicle. Now that is true to some respects to the Jackal 1. Majority of the Pioneer kit on the Jackal 2 was mounted to the tailgate. So this piece here, which is 12A, that's a Jackal 1 piece, or a Jackal 1 item. And what they're saying is that sits on there, in that little gap here. Okay, that fits pretty nicely. It's a nice firm fit. Right. Now what I was saying in the other video about the gunner seat. Now if this was a true Jackal 1, this is the front of the vehicle here, this is the rear. You've got the top cover that stands here through his slew ring, and then just here would be his seat, which is basically a black leather pad on the floor, a bit of a back plate sitting up where these tools are, and it's on like a little runner, so you can slide it forward, slide it back. But it's rearward facing. There's only one seat, and that's for top cover. The Jackal 2 has the two seats on the back here facing forward. So I think they've got themselves a little bit confused as to which variant they were actually videoing or picturing when they were researching this vehicle. But they have gone to the extra detail of this here is a black rubber cap that unscrews, and inside there is the transmission dipsticks. However, it's in the wrong place. This usually sits around here, and that one there would be for the fuel tank, or the air tanks that are located here. So yeah, anyhow, that was step 11. There was only two pieces to put on, which was the air filter and that back wall. What are we on now? Oh, we're on 28 minutes. Okay guys, so we're going to leave it there, and then we'll crack on with part 2 literally straight away. I'll just carry on. We'll finish this up now, and I'll just go straight on to step 12 and carry on from there, guys. So look forward to the next update, which will be very shortly. So speak to you in a bit, guys.